No, hey, no.
Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo and today I'm going to be showing you how you can turn your old t-shirts into these really cool twisted and knotted fronts really easily. The first t-shirt we're going to be looking at is this crop tee with a tie in the front. The first thing you want to do is pop your t-shirt on and work out where you want the crop to come up to. I've marked my waist, but obviously you can go as high or as low as you like. You might want to go for a bit lower. You're then going to take this measurement and you're going to mark it on each side seam. Top tip alert guys, so what you want to do is go for a lovely long t-shirt because it means you have lovely long ties in the front as well. So now what you want to do is you're just going to line up your side seams of your t-shirt just to make sure when you mark the centre front you are definitely cutting up the centre nice and evenly. Grab your scissors and then you're going to cut up the centre front to the marked line, and then you're going to do the same, cut up the side seams to the marked line as well. Now that you've cut up your centre front and your side seams, you can see that you are left with two panels. Now you're going to grab your chalk and you're going to mark 3 centimetres either side of the centre front. This means when we trim up and tie our knot, it's not going to be too bulky. Okay, so now I'm going to kind of freestyle it, but I'm going to cut up 3 centimetres up this side and then along the top along those marked lines and then back down the other side to create a keyhole opening. Obviously you can cut the opening as big as you would like to. Okay, so neating off any raw edges, obviously it's going to be tied and we're not looking for perfection, so guys, it doesn't matter too much, but yeah, neating off any edges if you would like to. Okay, so I kind of played around with the angle here, but I just decided to take it from corner to corner. I grabbed my scissors, snipped up this side and then did the same for the opposite. Okay, so we're going to flip our t-shirt and now we're going to work on the back. So take that same measurement that you've marked in the front and you're going to mark it all along the back line. Grab your scissors and then you're going to trim along that line. Okay, so this step is totally optional, but I just decided my sleeves are a little too big and slightly out of proportion, so I've just trimmed them and now I'm going to have a nice raw edge. Now I'm just going to secure those side seams with a sewing machine. Okay folks, so that's it for our first t-shirt. So I'm just going to snip off all those thread ends, neaten up any edges that I want to, but basically you don't even have to sew it if you don't want to. And that's it, all done. And this is a finished top. I really like it. So it's super simple and really effective, and if you don't have a sewing machine you don't even have to sew those side seams. So just remember, if you don't want the crop to be as short as mine, just mark it slightly lower. And on to the next one. The first thing you want to do is decide where you want your knot to sit. I went for just below my waist. You're going to measure up the centre front and both side seams with an equal measurement. Fold your t-shirt in half, match those side seams just to make sure the centre front is accurate. Once you're happy with your markings, you're just going to snip up the centre front and the side seams. From the centre front line, I've marked out 5 cm each side, but obviously you can decide how big you want to go. Now you're going to snip up those side seams and then along the waist to that 5 cm point on both sides. Now for the fun part, the twist. So what you're going to do is you're just going to lay out both of your squares evenly, and then you're just going to take right over left, then left over right until you are left right sides up again. This can seem confusing, but I promise you it's really simple. Just have a few goes at getting that twist. So I've left a top tip at the end of the video for you guys just to make it even easier. Once you've created that twist you're after, you're just going to pin along the waistline and the centre front from the inside of your t-shirt. Once you've sewn along those side seams, you're probably going to notice that the front is now shorter than the back. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab your t-shirt and you're just going to turn it inside out. Grab your chalk and you're just going to mark a line before the stitching on the hem, and now we're going to sew. PS, don't sew over that line. Trim any loose threads. You should have sewn your t-shirt just along the waistband here and along the centre front. Now you're going to trim off the raw edge that I've asked you to mark earlier. Now you're going to match up those side seams. So you're going to grab your front piece and match it along the back piece, and then we're just going to trim that so they are both even. Measurement from the side seam, and then you're just going to mark it all along the back piece. Grab your trusty scissors and cut along that line. You're now going to pin those side seams closed. Now that you've pinned those side seams closed, you just want to make sure the side seams are aligned, and then we're going to sew. Snip off any loose threads, and guys, remember, don't use white thread. I've just used it so that it shows up for you. Okay guys, so that is it, my finished top. I absolutely love it. It is honestly so flattering on the waist. So if you're like me and you're slightly self-conscious of your stomach, then this top is a winner. Okay, we're on to our last t-shirt, and this one is pretty damn nice. So you're going to fold this one in half like we've done with the previous t-shirts, match those side seams, and then you're going to mark the centre front with whatever you have. So this knot will raise the centre front of your t-shirt quite a lot, so just decide where you want that to sit. So it's really important that all your measurements are really precise. So I have measured up 14 on the side seam. I'm now going to measure out 14. I'm then going to measure up the centre front 14. I'm going to measure up the opposite side seam 14 again, and then I'll be measuring out 14. Once you've done that, you're just going to measure down from the 14 that you've measured along that waistline. To the hem of your t-shirt. You're going to do the same on the opposite side, and effectively you are taking 14 centimetre squares out of each corner, but you can decide what size you want to go for. It will be determined by how much you want to take the twist in the waist up by. Okay, so you're now going to cut up the side seams, and then you're going to cut along the waistline. So you're going to measure between the centre front to that cut line, and then you're going to mark that all the way down until you reach the hem. And now you're just going to snip up those lines you've marked. So this is where your accurate markings come into play. So the hem along there is going to be attached to the side seam, and then the square edge there will be attached to the waist along that line there. Now to twist. It's so easy, so you're just going to go right over left, and that's it. Super simple. Well, this is totes awkward. I totally lost my footage, but hopefully I can explain in a minute. Okay, so what I did is I've just pinned along the waistband, and you're going to sew that on the sewing machine. Okay, so you can see there that I have just sewn along that line on the waistband, and now we're going to work on the side seams. Okay, so you have two options here. You can either sew along that side seam, trim the back, and then you are finished, or you can follow the second option I'm going to show you now. So the first version, which will make your t-shirt higher in the back as well, is just to sew those side seams closed there, trim along the back edge, and that's it. Or for version 2, what you're going to do is you're going to cut off that raw hem there. You're then going to gather the back piece into the front piece. You're going to have a nice gathered side seam, and it's actually really flattering on the waist. Now you're just going to pin the hems together, and you're going to gather that excess fabric into the side seam. And now we're going to sew that closed. Ta-da! We've finished our t-shirt, so it wasn't too hard, was it? What you're going to do is you're just going to trim off any excess threads, and guys, remember, don't use white thread. I've just used it so it's more obvious for you to see. You can see that it's really simple, so I've literally just sewn along the waistband there, and then you're going to gather into the side seams, and honestly it is super flattering. When you sew, you just want to make sure you push all those seam allowances down. Okay, hopefully you can see it's actually really effective and it is pretty easy. So let me know in the comments down below if you've given any of these a go. Slightly short in the front for me, but you know, it's longer in the back, so that's all good. I've gathered those side seams for that flattering edge, and yeah, I just love it so much. The neckline is still rubbish, but you know, hey ho. Okay guys, so those are my 4 knotted t-shirts for you guys. As you can see, some of mine are a little bit short, but they're nice and cool. Maybe I'll wear them for yoga. They've also got chalk all over them, which is not a good look, but obviously yours are going to look fantastic compared to mine. You can obviously finesse the seams or finish them in any way you like, but hopefully that encourages you guys to look in your wardrobe, find something you've got that perhaps you would think about throwing away, but instead you can jazz them up and show them a bit of love. So if you found this video useful, do consider subscribing down here. I'm going to release a series on festival t-shirts and indigo tie-dyeing, so if that interests you, hit that bell to get the notifications when those videos are released. And the last thing I'm going to show you guys very quickly, which is going to help you with your t-shirts, is super cute. Where have I put it? Hold on. Is cut out a very small cute t-shirt. And then you can practice the shapes that you would like. Let me bring that a bit closer for you guys. You can practice the shapes you would like and how you can knot things before you commit to cutting. Also, they're super cute. They're like doll's clothes, so cute. Anyway, that's it for this week's video, and I will see you all next week. Bye.